Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Today we're going to travel to Tuscany and visit with Gabriele Colombo and speak about Monrosso. We have two wines from Monrosso, the Chianti and the Tuscan Red Blend. We're so excited to join with Gabriele today. Thank you so much, Gabriele, for taking your time out. Can you tell me a little bit? Tell me a little bit about Monrosso and the location.
Yes, of course, we are at Castello Di Monsanto, the beautiful, iconic winery in Chianti Classico, but of the 75 hectares of property, of vineyard property of the company, we have 25 hectares that are outside of the Chianti Classico appellation that lies in the Chianti DOCG and specifically Chianti Colli Senesi. I will show you on the map so that you understand better. So Castelo De Monsanto is located on the western border of Chianti Classico appellation. On the southern part of the property, in the Chianti Colli Senesi DOCG, we have 25 hectares in an area that has more fresher exposure, so more toward east, so more vocated to producing very fresh, approachable, easier to drink wines. That, of course, for Castello Di Monsanto, that is famous worldwide for the capability, the aging capacity of their wines, we need an approach, a starting point for everyone to enjoy the style of the wine. Monrosso line was created in 1998 and consists of the two wines we will taste today that were created specifically, primarily for the US market. One is a Chianti DOCG and the other is an IGT. Monrosso is a combination of two Italian words, Monsanto, that is red in Italian, so Monrosso, and you know very well because I see your dress today is perfect.
So the first wine created was the Chianti, though, is that correct?
Yes, we started with the Chianti DOCG, and then 3 years ago it was introduced the Tuscan Red Blend. We call it TRB. It's a baby super Tuscan, and it's the first that we will taste. We now have 2017 vintage. Tuscan Red Blend is a blend in every sense because it's made from 5 grape varieties: Sangiovese, Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot. And the percentage, it changes a little bit depending on the vintage characteristics, but it's usually it's the same, 20% of each variety. Every variety has its own character, and blended together, everyone brings a feature, specific profile. Imagine, of course, Sangiovese with this sturdy gastronomic acidity. The Syrah, of course, the peppery note at the nose, the spiciness, you know. The two Cabernet, dark fruits and a little bit of vegetal profile. And of course, the Merlot, red fruits and roundness, easy to drink. So, everyone, I want everyone to have a glass of the 17 vintage.
And all the grapes are from the estate, is that correct? Everything there is grown on the Monsanto property.
This is, as the French says, a ça va sans dire. Every wine from Castello Di Monsanto is produced from estate-grown grapes. Absolutely. Right. So the profile of the Tuscan Red Blend is very fruity, round. The integration of the alcohol and the wood is perfect. It makes very easy to pair with simple dishes like pizza, pasta, but also perfect for a by the glass because the fruitiness, it's very crispy, not overwhelming, round at the right point. I think this wine has also a discrete capacity of age. You can keep it for 4 years without any problem for a
Oh, definitely.
red of this simple
It will
profile.
improve.
Perfect starting point to enjoy the style of the wine. And baby super Tuscan, we can say, because you know, IGT in Tuscan is all started with the Bolgheri area, or also the Cabernet Sauvignon used in Chianti Classico, as the Nemo is, we talked about the last time. Of course, this is a baby,
Right.
because for this price point, you cannot find a Super Tuscan anywhere in the world. And IGT, why it is an IGT? IGT in Italy is Indicazione Geografica Tipica, geographic indication typical. Actually, is not a quality standpoint compared to the OCG or DOC. It's just that the appellation, the law, the Italian law, leaves to the winemaker the freedom to experiment with other varieties other than the autochthonous one.
With other international varietals.
Also international, absolutely, yes. 2017 vintage is quite similar for what for now the 2020 shown. So it's quite warm vintage. So I want you to understand from these two wines that comes from a 17 vintage, very warm, that usually on the market, if you taste blind these wines with other 17 from Tuscany, you will find that the competitors are very jammy, overripe, over-extracted. But these wines, blind tasted, can be easily a 16 or a 15 because they are very fresh, very drinkable. The elegance of drinking is a style deeply linked with Castello di Monsanto.
Yes, that's true. And speaking of the connection with Monsanto, can you speak about the label and the house, the illustration here, and how it connects?
Of course, the painting that you see in every Chianti Classico label from Monsanto is the house where the castle where Fabrizio and Giuliana Bianchi still lives nowadays. And of course, Monrosso is linked to the iconic labels of Chianti Classico with the design, the little painting of the Castello.
Very cool. Very cool. Good. So let's move to the Chianti.
Yeah, of course. So just to make clear, Chianti DOCG and Chianti Classico difference. You've seen the Chianti Classico area that we showed also in the other webinars we did. Chianti Classico is the original historic appellation, the more ancient appellation in the world, and it's pretty tiny, 7,000 hectares. Chianti DOCG was enlarged later and covers nearly all Tuscany. Chianti DOCG Monrosso is a Colli Senesi that actually is the closest to the Chianti Classico, because Colli Senesi means the side of Siena, you know. Then you have Chianti Colli Fiorentini that is close to Firenze, Chianti Colli Aretini close to Arezzo. Covers Chianti DOCG is very spread out, but here is Colli Senesi, very historical to be a Chianti DOCG. And compared to Chianti Classico, that are wines with very strong backbone, capacity of age, because they come from a disciplinary that implies lower yields and longer aging, Chianti is more easy, more approachable, more enjoyable every day. And consider that it is being a 70% Sangiovese by law. We use 80. So our Chianti is a serious one, because by law you could add also some international varieties for 30%. White grapes you can still nowadays put in the blend the Chianti DOCG, but we use 80% Sangiovese, 10% Canaiolo, a very rare and historic red variety that has floral notes and smooths a little bit the acidity, and a little touch of Merlot. This is the blend. For both the wines, consider that we do hand harvest, selection of the bunches in the vineyard, and then selection in the winery. Then we use pneumatic press, and then the fermentation is done in stainless steel. The contact between the juice and the skin lasts, of course, less than Chianti Classico, because we want wines that are more easy to enjoy. So we are around 15 days. And then malolactic is done in stainless steel, and then the aging for both the wines is done in big barrels of 39 hectoliters. So not too much food. For the Tuscan Red Blend, a little bit in barrique, but not new one. 5, 6 passages.
Right.
And then a bottle, of course.
Moving back to the Chianti, can you explain to us the DOCG status? Because in my mind, we're selling the best quality of Chianti, right? Because it is the highest level.
Yes, Chianti is the DOCG, and of course means that you have more control compared to an IGT. Chianti, like Chianti Classico, has this band here that is numbered by the Appellation Board Control, that is a national political organism. So every single bottle is counted and quality controlled by the Italian government. The OCG, of course, stands at the top in terms of quality control. Then you have DOC and then IGT. It doesn't mean that an IGT cannot be as good as a DOCG. It means that an IGT is more free, is more trusted to the quality profile of the producer. That, of course, is the most important thing anyway.
But also, don't you think the Monrosso wines are ideal for this year, especially with the pandemic, our current situation, because they are at a more economical price point, but we have the quality and the heritage of Castelo De Monsanto.
I would say that quality price, it's extremely hard to find something better.
Right. We're lucky to be able to have both of these wines available.
Especially in this difficult moment, I would say.
So what do you like to pair with both of them?
So I would say that they are two different wines, both are very easy to approach and to pair. But with the Tuscan Red Blend, I see that if you try it also a little bit chilled with the fat fish, is fantastic. Of course, it's also a wine that you can enjoy under the porch during the summer, a little bit fresh for aperitivo, by the glass, fantastic. But both of them, maybe, of course, Chianti, the OCG has more structure, the acidic start, the acidity of the Sangiovese for some, white meat or something more elaborated, but both pasta, pizza, perfect.
Right.
I would say.
They both sound delicious. And tell us a little bit about the 2020 vintage so far that you've seen. How do the vines look?
2020 so far is similar to the 17. So from a winemaker point of view, you have both quality and quantity ahead. We just passed by the Verizon moment, so it's where the grapes also of the black varieties before they looked green, and now they stopped being shy and they show their real nature. They change color, so they start to accumulate the sugar. We are probably 5-6 days ahead because it's been sunny and warm for now. Now it's good that it's not raining. Hopefully in 1 week, 10 days, we hope some rain will come. That will be perfect. So ahead is fantastic vintage. In a difficult year, fantastic vintage in the in the vineyards.
That's great. I actually have a few questions from the chat. I had to move closer to my laptop to see them. So let me ask you, from Chris Wright, he wants to know, do you ever put in some Canaiolo into the Chianti?
Yes, Chianti, the OCG Monrosso is made actually with nearly a 10% of Canaiolo. That is quite unusual and a big feature of quality, because remember that Canaiolo until the 16th century was the most planted variety here in Chianti Classico and Tuscany. It was grown on the trees, a variety very popular. Then Sangiovese was recognized, of course, of more quality grape, but Canaiolo, a winery that focused on keeping these autochthonous varieties in a blend also of an entry wine, means really quality.
So the Monrosso Chianti has Sangiovese, Merlot, and some Canaiolo, what you're telling us.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, great. I was not aware of the Canaiolo in the Chianti. That's interesting. Then I have a question from Anita, all the way from California. She wants to know about the difference between the 2017 Tuscan Red and the 2016. She believes that the 17 seems to be a little bit bigger in body than the 16. Can you explain the difference between the two? Because we have both in the market right now.
Yeah, the climate, from the climate point of view, the 16 was an extremely balanced vintage in all Tuscany. Chianti Classico, Chianti, Brunello, everything melted really well in the developing of the maturity. So both the color, the fruitiness that is very in the front for a 16 vintage, and the tannic structure. The 17, of course, looks more bold, more strong, because was warmer. So of course, we would love to have 10 in a decade, 10, 16 vintages. You know, it's a 5-star vintage we would love. But if the wine looks the same vintage in and vintage out, means that the winemaker is not respecting what the nature is giving. You know?
And then I have a question from Jake in Boston. Speaking about Chianti and Chianti Classico, when was the, maybe you know, when was the law defined for the area of Chianti Classico? So to determine what hectares were Chianti Classico and what was outside the zone, when did that come into play?
So legally, politically, it was defined during the 70s, but consider that Cosimo III de' Medici, the Grand Duca di Toscana, during the 17th century, demarcated what is actually the nowadays area. So Chianti Classico in the world is the older defined appellation. It was defined in 1716.
As one of the first 4 high quality locations within Tuscany, right? There was Chianti, I think Carmignano was one, and there were 2 others, right?
Yeah, but the first defined was Chianti.
Okay. And then just to be clear, the Monrosso is, everything is made at Castelo De Monsanto in the cellar, correct?
Absolutely, in the vineyard and in the cellar.
100%.
100%. I would love to say with these 2 hands, but actually I studied winemaking, but I'm not doing the winemaking, to be honest. But I would love to.
Maybe this year you can help. Yeah. Since this year everyone's doing different jobs, but maybe you can help with the harvest and the winemaking.
Yes, exactly.
That would be cool. Okay, great. Are there any other questions from the team? You can put them in the chat if there are. Otherwise, I'd like to thank Gabriele for his time and for joining us this morning. So I'm wait a few.
Thank you all. We look forward anytime soon, because I think we are at the end of this damn virus. to have you all in the winery with us.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm waiting till they open the border. I'll buy a ticket for the next day.
Hopefully soon.
Thank you, Gabriele. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great day.
Grazie a
Ciao.
tutti, ciao.